Welcome back. This is episode B2, the second and final part of the first reading of our assessment conclusions. Okay, we previously stated that because of fundamental changes in US society over the last 50 years, there arose in the base of the Republican Party a clarion call, so to speak, for a standard bearer who would focus more explicitly on ratifying the anger felt by many Americans against the increasingly influential social and ethnic minority groups who appeared to have an agenda of transforming America philosophically and demographically into an alien nation state. Now, the figure that seemed to fit this standard bearer need like a glove was that of billionaire businessman Donald J. Trump. And the single most important aspect of Donald Trump, the political candidate that bears mentioning here, is that his appeal had little to no connection with the voters' support for his policies or his proposals. And this was especially true for the overtly white nationalist segment of his support base. Instead, the backing of Trump rested on the gratitude, again I say, the gratitude felt by a wide cross-section of deeply conservative and ethnocentric European Americans for Trump's support of them. Again, it was his support of them rather than their support of him, which was the Gordian knot, to quote Shakespeare, that tied and still does tie the Trump political movement together. His support of them. Moreover, his willingness to couch his movement in ethnocentric terms then created an almost irreducible foundation of support that was invariant to his wider and often changing set of economic and political policies. Invariant as well, for that matter, to his personal conduct and behavior. To quote Trump himself, "My supporters," he said, "would continue to back me even if I were to shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue," which is a central thoroughfare in New York City. And precisely because his political focus was defined in support of a sectarian agenda and in opposition to an assorted group of social and ethnic minorities, he often demonstrated in the election campaign a non-ideological, even oppositional approach to traditional Republican views, such as, for instance, free trade. This made Trump a particularly difficult candidate to run against in the November presidential election, since, absent his ethnocentricity, he was an ideologically fluid and populist figure who could not be tagged with the conventional labels that Democrats would normally pin to a Republican candidate. On the other hand, his Democratic opponent, Hillary Clinton, was a study in contrast. By her own admittance, she was both non-charismatic and unexciting. By her own admittance. In addition, she was as noteworthy by the length of previous time in the national political spotlight as Trump was by his status as political novice. Clinton's forte was that of policy wonk. She was the most prepared, the best informed, the individual who could be relied upon to take both the time and the effort to sweat the details. No, she defined herself as the experienced anti-Trump candidate, which she was, who would, quote, break the glass ceiling for women. But Clinton was never able to define in policy terms why she, the individual, should be elected president and what concrete benefits the country and its citizens would derive from her selection. Beyond the retort that failure to elect her would mean Trump. Unlike Obama, who did not run as the black candidate and was therefore able to market himself as standard bearer for a wide range of disparate silos. Clinton found it difficult to strongly motivate the electorate beyond a very tight geographic and social cluster of related communities. As an example, that actually borders on the incredulous. Trump, despite his ad nauseum attacks on Mexican Americans throughout the election campaign, won in percentage and in absolute numbers more Hispanic votes against Clinton than did his Republican predecessor against Obama in 2012. And although, like Hispanics, other liberal political communities, such as African Americans, trade union households, and the youth, quote unquote, voted as expected in the majority for Clinton, most of these voting blocs offered up support that was considerably down from the majorities generated in 2008 and 12. In very plain terms, the Democratic Party nominee in 2016 was simply not able to bring to life or sufficiently enthuse the minority-majority coalition that twice carried Obama to victory. Therefore, to wrap up our long analytic sweep of Trump's rise to power, we simply need note the following main conclusive points, at least need note here. First, Trump's elevation to Republican Party presidential nomination was a product of truly remarkable individual qualities, coupled with a set of exceptional circumstances that enabled him to identify and exploit the craving of the Republican Party base for a leader of his mold. However, Trump's elevation to the presidency via the election in November 2016 was primarily a function of Hillary Clinton's deficiency as a national political candidate. This thesis will be substantiated in the main discussion of the current assessment and in a detailed follow-on assessment of the November presidential election results. However, for right now, I will simply note the following. Donald Trump was able to win the Electoral College and the presidency of the United States against Hillary Clinton with a smaller percentage of the national vote, and even, believe it or not, a smaller percentage of the white vote than what Mitt Romney earned when he lost to Barack Obama in 2012. In other words, Trump in his election against Clinton performed worse than Mitt Romney and won. End of conclusion. Please join me for the meat of this assessment in episode C to come. Next, thank you. And as usual, thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and most importantly, leave me a comment below so I may have a sense of what it is you're thinking. Good, bad, or indifferent. Thanks.